The helicopter's blades roared above us, kicking up clouds of dust that stung my eyes and choked the air. A voice sliced through the chaos, sharp and commanding despite the thundering rotor wash. "Leave this property now, or you're under arrest," it barked. I glanced out from the pilot's seat to see a swarm of 150 security guards in crisp black uniforms closing in on my rescue chopper, their fake badges glinting under the blistering Nevada sun. They moved like a trained militia, surrounding us in the barren lot outside the Pine Valley HOA office. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't have known, was that in the passenger cabin behind me sat someone who could unravel their entire operation with a single call. The governor of Nevada was about to step out of my aircraft, and when she did, their world of petty power was about to collapse. My name's Ethan Caldwell, and I've been flying rescue helicopters for 15 years. After years as a wildfire pilot for the state, I founded Horizon Lifeline, my own emergency medical transport company. It's grueling, honest work saving lives when every second counts. I walked away from the red tape of government jobs and never looked back. But I never imagined my independent rescue service would land me in the crosshairs of a homeowners association drunk on its own authority. I should have seen it coming, especially after what happened to my dad 5 years ago. He always said, "Ethan, sometimes right and wrong outweigh rules and regulations. Don't forget that." I wish he could have seen what was about to unfold on this scorching July afternoon in 2026. The call came at 3:12 p.m., a frantic voice crackling through my headset as I finished routine maintenance on the chopper. "Mayday, Horizon Lifeline. We need immediate evac at Pine Valley. Victor Langston, the biggest landowner in the county, just collapsed. Looks like a massive stroke. He's unconscious, barely breathing." Victor wasn't just any patient. His 10,000-acre estate employed half the region, and his collapse could cripple the local economy. I fired up the pre-flight sequence while my sister, Dr. Olivia Caldwell, grabbed her medical kit and hopped aboard. She'd been my partner for 2 years, and there was no one I trusted more in a crisis. Then came the curveball. "Ethan, one more thing," the dispatcher said, her voice tightening. Governor Eleanor Stanton was at Langston's estate for a private meeting on state land policy when he collapsed. She's insisting on coming along to ensure he gets top-tier care. She's already called for FBI escort en route. A chill ran through me, and it wasn't from the chopper's AC. The governor of Nevada, known for her hands-on approach to rural issues, was about to board my helicopter. This wasn't just a medevac anymore. Something bigger was brewing. We lifted off and headed for Pine Valley, a sprawling community where the nearest landing zone was a dusty parking lot by the HOA's 2-story office, surrounded by rusted fences and crumbling storage sheds. As we approached, my stomach dropped. The lot was crawling with people, not medics or neighbors, but a small army in black uniforms, forming a perimeter like they were bracing for war. I counted at least 150, their badges flashing in the sunlight. At the center stood a woman I recognized instantly, Margaret Voss, the self-proclaimed Director of Community Standards for Pine Valley HOA. She clutched a silver clipboard and a laser measuring device she used to terrorize residents over minor infractions like overgrown lawns or misplaced trash cans. I'd heard rumors about her, how she'd tried to enforce no-fly zones over HOA land and sent anonymous tips to local news about rogue aircraft. But this was a whole new level of insanity. As I set the chopper down, I noticed a locked basement door beside the office building, and a dark thought crossed my mind. What were they hiding down there? Before I could dwell on it, Margaret stormed toward us, her clipboard raised like a shield, her laser pointer aimed at my cockpit. "This is private HOA property, and you're trespassing," she shouted over the engine's roar. "You've got 30 seconds to lift off, or my security team will arrest you for aviation violations." Her guards closed in, their synchronized movements almost comical if they weren't so menacing. I glanced back at Governor Stanton, who sat calmly in the cabin, her eyes scanning the scene with the cool precision of someone who'd seen this kind of theatrics before. She wasn't just here for Victor Langston. She was here for something bigger. Margaret Voss had been planning this showdown for months, I later learned. She'd transformed from a typical HOA tyrant into a dangerous obsessive, hell-bent on controlling every inch of Pine Valley. Her silver clipboard and laser device were her weapons of choice, symbols of a reign of terror that had residents living in fear of fines, or eviction over trivial violations. 5 years ago, she'd lost her own home when the previous HOA mismanaged funds, leaving families homeless. That trauma had warped her into someone who believed absolute control was the only way to prevent chaos. She'd built a private security force, acquired military-grade radio jammers worth $20,000, and even fabricated no-fly zone maps to intimidate pilots like me. Her goal? To frame me for illegal airspace violations and shut down Horizon Lifeline for good. The situation escalated when my radio went dead jammed by Margaret's equipment. They weren't just blocking communications, they were disrupting GPS, risking a crash if I tried to take off. Margaret had rehearsed this confrontation, staging mock arrests with her guards playing criminal pilots to perfect her performance. She'd also sent doctored photos to news outlets, showing my chopper in fake compromising situations, complete with forged flight logs and witness statements accusing me of smuggling. It was a chillingly sophisticated smear campaign, and I wondered where a suburban HOA was getting the money for it. As Margaret's guards moved closer, some holding industrial cables aimed at my rotor bladisa move that could rip the chopper apart in midair. I realized this wasn't just harassment. It was sabotage. Olivia, monitoring Victor's fading vitals, shot me a look of rising panic. We were running out of time. Then Margaret upped the ante, barking into a military-style radio. Cut power to Sector 5, everything now. Within moments, the entire area went dark, cell towers and internet included. She'd planned this blackout to silence us, but she hadn't counted on Lily Tran, a local farmer running a live-stream channel called Desert Truth. Lily, standing at the edge of the crowd, was broadcasting to a satellite uplink, her viewership skyrocketing from 50 to 20,000 in minutes as she narrated what she called the Pine Valley Siege. The crowd grew, filled with residents who'd suffered under Margaret's rule. Families fined thousands for minor violations, others driven out by her intimidation tactics. They weren't here to support her, they wanted justice. But Margaret was too deep in her delusion to notice. As she prepared to arrest me, the chopper's door opened, and Governor Eleanor Stanton stepped out. Her presence was commanding, her silver hair catching the sunlight as she surveyed the scene. "I am Governor Eleanor Stanton of Nevada," she declared, her voice cutting through the noise. "I've been watching this farce for 10 minutes, and I've had enough. Ms. Voss, you have 30 seconds to call off your people, or I'm calling the FBI." The effect was electric. Half of Margaret's guards froze, some dropping their gear and backing away, realizing they'd stumbled into something far bigger than a Craigslist gig. But Margaret doubled down, pointing her laser device at the governor. "Nice try, but I know a fake when I see one," she sneered, filming Stanton with her phone as if exposing a grand conspiracy. "You're under arrest for fraud." It was absurd, like watching someone argue the sky wasn't blue. Stanton, unfazed, pulled out a satellite phone and made a call. "This is Governor Stanton. Launch Operation Desert Sweep at Pine Valley now. We've got illegal jammers, detention of emergency personnel, and interference with state business. I want FBI and Nevada State Police here in 15 minutes. Margaret's face fell as reality hit. Stanton wasn't just here for Victor Langston. She'd been investigating Pine Valley's HOA for months, prompted by 79 complaints of extortion, illegal security forces, and fraud. This medevac was her chance to catch Margaret in the act. As FBI SUVs and a helicopter descended, Margaret's empire crumbled. Agents swarmed the scene, seizing jammers, fake badges, and Margaret's precious clipboard. The basement door was opened, revealing a vault of dossiers on residents' financial records, blackmail material, and contracts showing Margaret had sold community land to Solaris Energy for millions, pocketing the profits while claiming the money-funded community projects. The most damning find was a map marking 23 families for removal and a key to another archive. That archive held evidence of a $3.5 million Cayman Islands account and emails exposing Margaret's campaign to destroy independent rescue services like mine to promote her cousin's overpriced medevac company. As agents cuffed her, Margaret screamed about conspiracies, but her guards scattered, some arrested as they fled toward the rusted sheds. Victor Langston recovered, thanks to Olivia's care, and funded a legal defense for HOA victims. Pine Valley's HOA was dissolved by court order, its assets frozen. Lily Tran's footage made her a local hero, landing her a job as an investigative reporter. Governor Stanton presented Olivia and me with the Nevada Valor Medal, and new laws were passed to protect emergency services. At our father's grave, we honored his memory, knowing we'd fought the same fight he did against unchecked power. But the story wasn't over. In the basement, agents found a map of 15 other HOAs in Nevada tied to Margaret's community control network and a note. If you're reading this, I've failed. Pine Valley was just the start. Check Silver Ridge, County 3, the real threat. Days later, Lily got an anonymous email warning that Silver Ridge's HOA made Margaret look like a novice. What would you do if your HOA turned into a private militia? Would you fight like we did, risking everything, or try to negotiate with people this unhinged? And what's the line between community rules and outright tyranny? Share your thoughts below. Hit that like button if justice matters to you. And subscribe, Yuri, just getting started exposing these stories. What's the worst HOA nightmare you've heard of? Let's uncover it next.